We've all seen it before. You know, one of those websites you go to, but you don't know what to read first or how to find what you're looking for. It turns out that that's not your fault. It's also not the fault of whoever designed it. The issue is that the brain is connected in a special way, and unless you are a psychologist, you will never be able to know the 4 reasons why our brain rejects disorder. Lucky for you, with this video, you will learn how to make a perfect website. Let's get started, shall we? Problem number 1. Principle 7 plus or minus 2. According to diverse studies, human beings can retain between 5 and 9 things at once in their memories in the short term. On many menus on the web, there are many subcategories that divert the user's attention. So basically, it's more appealing if we don't exceed those 9 elements or blocks of information on our website. For instance, in the case of Amazon, we see the main page as fewer than 9 blocks of information that draw the attention of the visitor. Zone number 1. Menu and search button, which could perfectly be divided into 2 areas. Zone number 2. A banner with promoted products and advertisements. Zone number 3 and 4. Products the user had been interested in recently. Zone number 5. Products suggested by Amazon in different categories. They say that to get to a specific place on a website, we should click our mouse up to 3 times. If it takes longer, the user would most probably leave the website. This rule is valid, above all, with websites that sell products. An example for this page is eBay. We carried out a search for a product, found it, and then bought it. Problem number 3. The 80-20 rule. Several studies worldwide have concluded that in many societies, people are divided into 2 groups. The smaller one, represented by 20% of the population, generally owns 80% of any type of goods, and the other 20% of those goods are owned by 80% of the people in that society. For instance, several years ago in Italy, that was the case with the land. 80% of the land was owned by 20% of the population, and the other 20% of the land was divided amongst the remaining 80% of the people. Nowadays, this theory applies to many areas, such as the economy and politics. In terms of web usability, we can apply this rule by taking into account that 20% of our key concepts will generate 80% of the visits. So it's a good idea to intensify those concepts and to focus on key points. Problem number 4. Time travel from point A to point B. Before we begin, I'd like you to meet Greg. An important characteristic that defines Greg, as well as every human being, is related to the time needed to move from one place to another. Imagine this. You wake up in the morning and read the paper while having breakfast. The paper announces that a very busy avenue, the one you take to go to school, will be closed off. So you have to decide between these 2 options. Number 1. Take the usual route. In fact, it's shorter, but this time, due to the traffic, it will take you 20 minutes. Number 2. You can take an alternative route and it will take you just 15 minutes. Which one would you pick? If you chose the first option, you are part of that 1.11% of the population who prefers to take longer but the well-known route they always take. But if you chose the second option, you belong to the majority. This happens because the human brain is designed to reach a destination in the fastest way possible. It is said that the time needed to reach a destination rapidly is a function of the distance one needs to cover to get there. So within a website, the easier we make it for the user to navigate, the better. For instance, the usual or the important actions for a user on a website have to be as close as possible to the previous position of the cursor. Another example is the size of the button that a user would click on. It should be bigger than just the word or the image that's on it. Let's change the subject. Another very important problem in today's society is web accessibility. What does this mean? Many people have motor or cognitive disabilities which are obstacles to using technology. Technology should adapt to people, not people to technology. How is this done? First, each person's needs must be evaluated in order to research and develop adequate technology for each disability. There are also cases in which there is a lack of one type of technology, so it must be replaced by a different one. A paradigmatic example is of this video. It has subtitles in case anyone that has a hearing disability is watching it. Another case is that websites should adapt to every type of electronic device so everyone can access it. In conclusion, Amazon, eBay, Italy, Apple, and people with disabilities is too much information at once. But in the next 3 days, you should remember at least 65% of this video because we have used visual objects in a clear order in this presentation. Thank you very much for having watched this video. I hope you liked it. Made by Tommy Rosenblatt, student at Orch Argentina, in the specialization of Information and Communication Technology.